Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Iron Roots Podcast. I'm your host and your boy, Zach Even Esh, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking to you about a book, perhaps an infamous book, that claims to help you put on 30 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks.
This is Plays Iron Roots,
A podcast dedicated to uncovering the strength legends, the training methods, and the stories around physical culture and iron history. I'm your host, Zach Even Esh. Grab yourself a protein shake, chalk up, and prepare to travel back in time through some of the most awe-inspiring stories of iron history. It's go time. All right, guys, so in this episode, I'm talking to you about a book that breaks a lot of the rules of today's wisdom, but something that some of us old school fans believe and swear by, and that is the book Super Squats. And the gist of this book is doing 20 rep squats and drinking almost a gallon of milk a day. Now, can you really put on 30 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks? Well, I'll tell you what. If you're a young teenager, skinny, and you follow this thing to the T, I don't know if it's going to be pure lean muscle, but I would like to put the challenge out there to see who could do it. Today, unfortunately, we've got people that are allergic to milk, allergic to dairy, allergic to squats, so I don't know if this is possible in today's day and age. The copyright of this book is from 1989, and it's by Dr. Randall Strawson, who's the owner and founder of Iron Mind. Now, what's so cool about these books is that they all kind of were inspired during that classic and golden era where the basic tenets of hard work, eating lots of food, squatting, doing basic barbell lifts is just what it was all about. There wasn't a whole lot of veering from that, minus a few people that were really trying to, buck the system of bodybuilding and powerlifting. But essentially, this book would be a great inspiration and blueprint for a lot of those skinny teenagers, because back in the day that certainly was the case. I've said it before that today we're dealing with people who are overweight and fat and just obese, whereas decades ago the main concern was people were so skinny. How are we going to get them big? Well, the answer in those 60s and 70s and then here in 1989 is following the program Super Squats. So I'm going to give you a couple of details and outlines and things that I've highlighted. So the main thing is it's high rep squats. They called these breathing squats. They felt that if you did these heavy squats, so for example, if you weighed 100 pounds, the goal was supposed to build up to 150 or 200 pounds to do it for 20 reps. If you weighed 200 pounds, they wanted to see you doing 300 pounds for 20 reps. And by the way, guys, little history fact. At age 22, I squatted 315 for 22 reps. I also squatted, I think I was 18, almost 19, 225 for 50 reps. Now I got to like 46 or 47, and then I had somebody spot me for the remaining reps. And a lot of these high rep squats, the thing behind it is mindset. It's tough. When they talk about doing 20 reps, they're not talking about breezing through them. You're supposed to choose a weight where 10, maybe 12 reps is extremely hard. Once you get to that 10, 12 rep, you take a few deep breaths after each rep. Maybe you do 2 to 3 reps, 3 deep breaths, get the next 2 to 3. It's basically a make the rep or die type of commitment to squatting. And I've actually programmed these 20 rep squats into the deep off season of some of the college wrestlers I've worked with. So in the summertime, when we're not competing, we've got all the availability and freedom to recover and sleep and take naps. I've incorporated the 20 rep squats, and let me tell you something, they loved it. Not only was it great for them physically, it was certainly a change of pace, but the mental challenge fired people up. Where we need to be careful with it nowadays is some coaches in modern days have tried to incorporate these high rep squats when football players come back home from winter break after not working out or not really living the right way for 3 weeks. That's where it doesn't work. Now, of course, I looked through this, and the first thing that stands out on the pages is it says, squat hard and get big. You're going to do one set of 20 reps, and it's going to be the hardest work you've ever done. And I'm going to take you through some of the sample programs where they give the 20 rep squats, or they give an option to do the good old 5x5. Now, again, these older books, these older training methods oftentimes pushed for high volume. It was actually normal for us in the 80s and the early 90s to spend 2 hours in the gym. We weren't thinking, oh, I've got to get this 45-minute workout or my testosterone levels are going to drop. We were not thinking like that at all. In this program, if you're following the 20 rep squats, here's one of the programs. Everything here is listed for 5 sets of 5. Power cleans, overhead dumbbell presses, incline bench, upright row, dumbbell curls, then parallel squats, 5 sets of 5, and then hanging leg raises, 2 sets of 25. That's if you're kind of going with the alternate of the program. If you're following the 1 set of 20, they program the 1 set of 20 somewhere in the middle of there. So you begin the workout with 2 to 3 sets of seated presses behind the neck. Then you move to a bent over row. Then you're moving to dips or pull-ups. Everything is this 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Then you get to the gut check. You get to the 1 set of 20 rep squats. And this is where you're choosing those heavy weights. They talk about the nutrition being the key factor to putting on the 30 pounds of muscle in those 6 weeks. And the key factor is not just in drinking all of that milk, it's in eating like food is going out of style. So I'm going to take you guys through what they have as a sample daily diet. So, and this comes from a 1964 magazine article. 7 a.m. breakfast, 3 to 4 eggs, slice of toast, glass of milk. 9:30 a.m. snack. You're going to have a sandwich and a glass of milk, and it says you're going to have a meat sandwich. Back then, they're talking about eating roast beef, turkey, ham. 12 o'clock, you're going to have lunch. You're going to have 2 sandwiches with meat and cheese. And in the 50s, 60s, early 70s, this was actually common ways of eating, and it was very much how I ate when I was in high school. Turkey and cheese, roast beef and cheese, and it helped me put on muscle all throughout high school. After you eat your 2 sandwiches, more milk, piece of fruit. Then you got a 3 p.m. snack. You're going to have hard-boiled eggs, cheese, another glass of milk. Then dinner talks about having 3/4 of a pound of meat. So you're having steak or ground beef. And it talks about not worrying about getting the best cuts of beef. Although that being said, the food from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s were probably less genetically modified and less hampered with all kinds of chemicals. So the milk that was being drank decades ago and the foods we ate decades ago was probably what I would say more in its natural state than that of today. After you eat that big steak, you have vegetables, 2 glasses of milk, more fruit, and then at night, a 1/4 pound of cheese and more milk. So basically, you're eating 5 to 6 times a day. You've got breakfast, you've got snack, you've got lunch, you've got afternoon snack, you've got dinner, you've got a snack again at night. So when we break this all down, if you talk to the athletes of today and you see them at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you might say, hey, what'd you eat today? They skipped breakfast, they probably bought the school lunch, and then they haven't eaten. So it's dinner time and they've had 1 meal. Yet in super squats, they've had breakfast, big snack, lunch, afternoon snack. They've had 4 times the amount of protein, carbs, and nutrients ingested than a quote-unquote normal athlete would have. The other cool thing is they talk about the weight gain shake. And in those early days with everybody struggling to gain weight, these were popular sellers. So there was a lot of supplement companies out there selling these crash weight gain diets, but they give you a homemade version, and they called it the basic blender bomb. So let's break down how to make the blender bomb. So give it a cut there for 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Here we go. Okay, let's get into how to make this homemade basic weight gain shake. 4 cups of whole milk, so you better have a monster-sized blender. 2 cups of powdered milk. A 1/4 cup of brewer's yeast. A banana. 2 tablespoons of lecithin. A tablespoon of wheat germ oil. A large scoop of vanilla ice cream. And then they say putting in a full day's supply of protein powder. So you're making this like monster of a concoction and you're drinking it throughout the day, which is not far off from some of the stuff I would read Arnold would drink in the 60s, and even stuff I would recommend to some of the athletes when I see them struggling, going into high school weighing 85, 95 pounds. I tell them, you're going to go on the old school homemade milkshake. And it said, this is when you're living the dream. You have milk, you have a little bit of ice cream, you put protein powder, banana, honey, peanut butter, and that's what we call living the dream. Now, I want to finish with this mindset portion in this book, something that's very different than what I've experienced coaching the athletes of today, whether it's a high school athlete, a Division I athlete, and even the guys that are in the special forces being so busy. And it talks about the attitude, and they quote Bill Kazmaier here. And Bill Kazmaier's famous quote and things that he did when he would travel the world giving his seminars is he simply said, conceive, believe, and achieve. Visualizing how you want your body to look like with another 15 pounds of muscle, another 30 pounds of muscle, visualizing what it's going to feel like and how you're going to destroy that 20 rep set of squats. And that being said, I remember getting psyched up to go to the gym in my room, putting the radio on with the cassette tape in there, playing some AC/DC or Metallica. I was thinking about training long before I got to the gym. And even today, I'm thinking about squatting 2 days before I even get to the gym. My mind is already visualizing and I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when I destroy the gym. So this book covers things that some people might gloss over, such as the frequency of eating, programming 20 rep sets of squats for the athletes that's struggling to gain weight, or for the college athlete in the deep off season when they're not competing and they are physically ready to handle such training, but also the mental preparation and the mindset required to succeed. The visualizing, the dreaming of what you're going to feel like and look like when you gain that weight, put on that muscle. And it comes through this amazing book. So to me, this book is one of the most highly recommended books I would give to a teenage athlete, to a college strength coach, and to anybody out there who wants to kind of get back to remembering what the basics is all about and getting away from the fancy stuff. So guys, that's it. Super squats. If you could gain 30 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks, I would love to see a before and after. Make sure you tag me on Instagram, tag Play on Instagram, show us proof before and after. And to have some fun with this, here's what we'd like to see. What is your best 20 rep set of squats? Get that video up on YouTube. It's going to take you longer than a minute to hit those 20 reps. And we're going to come up with some sort of a cool gift for whoever crushes the most brutal 20 rep set of squats. I'm your host, Zach Even Esh from the Iron Roots podcast, brought to you by Play. Make sure you visit us at play.pro, plae.pro. I know you're going to enjoy all the former episodes, the past episodes, and you'll be able to also see all of the other seminars and strength and conditioning nuggets and pearls of wisdom inside the Play Pro app. If you're a parent of an athlete, strength and conditioning coach, sport coach, you will love it. We'll see you at play.pro.